and it's real hard to sort of break through that. Even I think that that's one of the other things that comes with the accessibility that came with people being able to record more. Is that became more saturated. It became where, as opposed to where maybe it was maybe 4 or 5 people who was able to put in, you know, to first have the ability to do it, then to have the desire to do it, then to know the right people to do it, have the access, you know, all of these different things sort of checked off who would, you know, pursue creating music and making music. And as each one of those things, you know, removed, and it wasn't something blocking anybody anymore, when it was easier to have somebody who could record, when it was easier to have somebody where you could get a music video out, when it was easier to have a way to release music, more people began to participate in it. And as more people start releasing music and putting music out, it makes it so that instead of maybe being the one homie out of like 300 homies who actually taking it far, now it's one out of every like 50 homies is doing just as much. So, you know, it becomes a little bit more difficult to get people in different areas to listen to your music, or people who like aren't in your social group to listen to your music because they got somebody within their social group who make music, and that's the person that they pushing, or that's the person that they listen to, you know. And I've only seen, you know, a few different artists in the city that's been able to really break through that sort of that problem, you know. And unfortunately, a lot of times, one of the things that has helped people break through that is, you know, things happening in the streets, you know, and things that where somebody want to go listen to the song that you made because it's other stuff going on outside of the song that you made. And I think, you know, when I think about one of the only other artists who maybe didn't have that necessarily going on, you know, has been Blazo, you know, where I was at a time when I was like in high school, where you could go to a party and Izzy the Plug would play at parties on any side of town, and everybody would rap the lyrics, you know. You could be somewhere, you would hear somebody, you know, playing Izzy the Plug, you know. It's only a few artists who I done been outside and heard somebody riding with their music playing outside, you know. I done been outside and heard somebody drive by and Parquet playing. I done been outside and heard somebody drive by and Blazo playing. You know, I done been outside, heard somebody drive by, you know, and Hendo playing. You know, I done been outside, heard somebody drive by, and you know, it's only you know, like a handful of 3, 4, 5 artists who done had that experience. You know, been outside and heard Kenny Kid playing somewhere. You know, and that song playing. You know, and so it's real difficult to sort of break through that, especially if you're not a social person. You know, I think one of the things that really works for Blazo well is that Blazo was always at least did the appearance of being fine with being social, you know, and Blazo outside and he in the mix, you know, and, you know, really translate well to some of the things you're doing with events and Escape Now. But that is one of the aspects that's really important, is being outside and being in the mix and networking and talking and being sort of extroverted person, you know, when it calls for. And I think that's difficult for a lot of artists, because a lot of artists are naturally tend to be introverted people, you know. They naturally tend to, you know, not do some of those things, you know. And I found that myself when I was as an artist, that wasn't something that I necessarily excelled at. You know, I didn't necessarily excel at being extroverted and networking and shaking hands and doing the mixing and doing the mixing and moving. That is an important aspect of sort of breaking through that ceiling. So talk to me about some of the experiences that maybe you've had with difficulties with breaking through some of those barriers that artists have locally. Like, what have you tried to do to break through them, and what's some of the experiences you've had?
Man, bro, so like you saying, like you go to parties and you hear anybody, like back in the day, back when Hendo, you know what I'm saying, Nova, all of them, they had a little wave going for a little while, you know what I'm saying? This probably like high school, right after high school era, you know what I'm saying? And you would literally go to a party on the side of town and hear they stuff slamming. So like,
I don't want to cut you off, but I do gotta say, and I done been outside like I heard One Way shit playing, you know, like, so,
bro,
you know, it's different people who I've had that experience where I didn't want to, I was thinking as you was talking and just wanted to make sure I added that in. Go ahead.
Right. So, I don't know, being an artist, you just kind of want to be that same, you know what I'm saying, in the same light almost. So like, it started off like probably hearing a lot of songs like that, and I think my difficult thing probably like was quality. I feel like that was the main catalyst and the reason why people weren't clinging on the way I wanted them to at a time, you know what I'm saying? So like breaking into an artist mode, you know what I'm saying? Like it go from like a point where I'm just recording and I'm just making SoundCloud songs to where like, all right, now this all gotta have some kind of quality, this gotta have some kind of, you know what I'm saying? It all gotta be like put together very well in a sense, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I still was having this little hard time for a little bit. I started dropping like song after song for a week on SoundCloud. It's probably like 2017 or something like that. And that's probably the when I started feeling like, all right, people seeing me, people sharing me, my songs, they rocking with them. They actually see me making music as an artist digitally online or whatever.